Very good evening to all our viewers. Thank you again for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Toivan Jabela, your host. Tonight on the show, we are joined by Rosa Namises. She's a social activist who has a history in activism. Among other things, she's been in the political space. She's a former member of parliament. And we are here to talk about general things as they relate to women empowerment in our country. Auntie Rosa, thank you very much for making time. It's really an honor. It's the first time that I'm actually talking to you formally. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah. I think what is important for me is that you have fought, you have participated in the liberation struggle in your own right from inside Namibia. What was the vision that you were fighting for? Which kind of Namibia were you fighting for at the time?
I thank you for really bringing me here and allowing me a little bit to expand. These are some of the things I never want to talk about because I think they're hurting.
Yes.
They are. As a youth, amongst other youth, we were really in the belly of the beast. And we have seen what discrimination looked like, what apart and hate looked like and felt like. I think I have also seen what it feels like to be burned and not to operate and to develop strategies that will make you go on day by day. So for what I have seen, the Namibia that I was falling in love with, literally through SWAPO, was a Namibia where because at that time we were a small community. The citizens were just 1-point-something million. So what I was looking for already at that time was abundance and a very beautiful unison where every Namibian, little and big, would be catered for. And that this pain that we were going through of apartheid, of not having proper housing, of not having proper employment and given the benefit of our labor, those kind of things, that this whole ticketing of people and labeling people, numbering, those many things will go away. And that we will spend time in a resting space where you get a job and you get social protection, and also where you will get an understanding amongst ourselves. Maybe that was maybe an utopia that I'm now looking at and saying, oh, did I meet totally different people? But all those that I regarded as comrades, we were dreaming the same dream. We were saying, I remember we were even saying, let's just remove the system. Not so much the white people, but the system that they are holding. We must cripple the system and bring in our system. Those days, I was reading on communism. I was reading Lenin and Karl Marx, and those were the things that was influencing me as a young Namibian SWAPO member then. And I had other youth that was really sitting in, and we were having these small handbooks. That was the old way of writing, because it's pocket books. You can just put that one on Lenin, on Karl Marx, just in your pocket, because it was never safe to have those books around us. So it was that influence. It was also a lot of social influence that other countries that were already independent, European countries, were running their system. So I was like, we will have a social system where children will be protected, they will be guided, and we will have a school curriculum that will really empower us and not take us teacher tell. Little did I know
that things will turn out differently. So, and that is very interesting, because after that independence was attained, in the 90s, a lot of things happened. You formally joined COD, which was just a new political party, and went to parliament on the ticket of that party. COD was formed, among others, by Ben Olenga. Is your former husband? Or
my former partner.
Former partner, yes, absolutely.
Oh my goodness, Toivo, you know a lot. My children's father.
You have very beautiful children with Ben Olenga. Was it an ideological decision to join COD, or was it just because this man that you loved from the political party?
A good question. When I was in the party, they were not here.
Yeah.
They were in exile, and then maybe in Robben Island. So I joined the party as me, Rosa.
Yeah.
My ideology, I buy into what the party was presenting. I fell in love with the party. Really, at the nurses' home, I was a health worker then, and the system was pressuring us there. I remember bringing out coming with many nurses into the SWAPO Youth League. Yeah. Today people would say, no, I came with how much people, but that was not the case. We were mobilizing ourselves within the nurses' home. And then some of us were saying, where can I express this dying situation that I'm having? And then the only place, of course, I belonged to the Catholic Church. I was a great Christian child, but that was not satisfactory. So I had to find a place, and that was then the SWAPO Youth League, which has brought me to become also a leader within them, and so on. So as we were working through the party, many, many years down the line, they were then released from the island. And when they were released from Robben Island, I happened to be working with the Council of Churches.
Yes.
Already I was already imprisoned and then dismissed, technically dismissed by the hospital. The matrons felt that after my release from prison, my head was not functioning very well. When I shared with them, they showed me a picture and they said, no, there's these cows and these goats, and then a fence, can they graze together? And I said, obviously, just let's remove the fence, and then they will graze together. And they were like, this one, we must just dismiss her. So I was dismissed at that level. So the churches would pick us up and give us opportunities. There was not much organizations there at that time. I remember the Legal Assistance Center's Human Rights Center was there. And so the Anglican Church and Catholic Church, they would pick us up, those who were thrown out by the system that we are fighting. And I'm grateful that the church played that role. So when we were there, there was a reception committee. That committee that has later turned out to be the RRR committee. So we were building our experience from the Kasinga release, members from Marienthal, Robben Islanders, so we would really integrate them and bring the comrades into the space. And that's how, I think, 85, I met this person. And then we brought them into the Youth League, and then we organized the unions so that they can have space and talk around the questions of employment and the abuse of the workers in our country. I remember our first attempt was at the airport, bringing Dr. Gabriel. I'm sure he is late now, but that was a very strong person working at the airport. And we were organizing, and we organized again through the church, bringing some theologians and so on. So basically from that background, fast forward, when the party came in the country, received what I was dreaming about, I was very depressed. I was depressed because I heard what has happened in exile. I'm still really not comfortable with that. We are talking about 300 years of genocide issues, and we cannot talk about a 100-year ago dungeon issue, and that really pains my heart. So I heard about all this mistreatment of our people, and our people, the same comrades, you know. So I remember one morning really contemplating what to do. Already in 1990, I left the party. Okay. So I left the party saying, my name is Rosa Namises. I'm no longer comrade. We were calling each other comrades. You don't even know my name, but you call me comrade. And when I'm injured, you are there. So when this happened, I think I stayed without any political activity. I went back to the church, I went back to the NGOs, and that's where we were working. I went to work for the Legal Assistance Center, that 10 years. And so in 1990 until 1999, I really built up my own self, restore my spirit, and we were working on legal education, providing communities with the constitutional information and many, many other things, which was really stabilizing me from what I have experienced. It was like being left by a lover when I left the party. It was not a very good experience. I was depressed. And of course, I had to deal with it myself. And also, I think we have parted, me and Ben, the question you are asking. So we were no longer together. I meant my children myself. And but basically, as a comrade, we were talking. Yes. So every time when he was all in these positions, I would go to him just for 10 minutes and say, oh, this is what you were looking for, sitting here and forgetting our people. So every time I used to say that, but for a while, I didn't communicate. And so this one day, he came back and he said, you were my subconscious mind. You were really troubling me. And now there are things that are happening in the country. What are you going to do about that? So I said, no, you must get out of the party. Now the listeners would say, oh, so you were the cause. But I was not the cause. I think he had a very clear mind. Knowing him, he had critical analysis and understanding of what was happening. So did I. And so we discussed about the country and about the things that were happening about Congo and our diamonds and our fishing and all that. Already there was fish rot. And then what happened then in the UK. And then he resigned. So when he resigned, we didn't want the party to evolve. We were saying, let us just start a social forum and not go into political parties. It doesn't help. And we build ourselves towards that. If it happens, it happens. But you know, Namibians, they were also fed up. Many Namibians were really not happy, like we are not happy now. And it's not a secret that people think we cannot talk about our unhappiness in the country. We have to share and say, can we correct these things? Because it is correctable. It's not that it is blueprint, closed down, we don't talk. No, we need to improve. Our people's lives need to improve. I still have hope. And it was at that moment with different gatherings, in 1999 that I remember we were sitting in Kalahari Sands, a big group, and people said, no, you cannot come tell us about a small forum, social meeting, what? We want a party. And it was then that it was prepared. We went into 7 months campaigning and we managed to get into parliament. And so I went in as with Ben as a comrade, and not as my lover. Okay.
Thank you, Auntie. We go for a small break and then return with Rosa Namises.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Stock up and save with the best deals at WB. Get 1 liter Vita Creamy for $11.99. 2 liter Nam Milk Omaere for $44.99. 200 gram top class spice mix for $11.99. 10 kg Hotchfeld maize for $84.99. Plus 2 kg surf washing powder for just $52.99. See more WB specials online at www.vurmanbrock.com. We care.
We care. Vurman Brock.
The show continues. Now, Meme Rosa, before the break you said, there are things that need to be spoken about, that there's things going on in this country that need to be spoken about. What are those in your view? What is it that makes you go to bed an unhappy woman?
Mm-hmm. I think the way we are treating our women and our children is something that should not happen like it is happening like this. No mother, no child should really go to bed hungry, telling us, I haven't eaten 3 days. That is something that this country does not deserve. The whole question of violence against women, children, and men should not happen. Our natural resources should not be plundered to the extent that 80% does not belong to us. Why? Why is this happening? And who is it that dictates to us that this level of extraction should happen? I only saw these things in the movies that I was watching in the 70s and in the 60s, where gritty white men were coming and digging and making our people dig. And now we are being digged out. Our natural or mineral things are not ours. Also, the situation of peace we have nationally. But I think underneath that peace, there is a whole corruption and exclusivity and a creation of a class that does not befit our country. And we keep on saying one nation. We talk about unity, and that is not emerging. It's not coming to us. We don't feel it. We don't see it being tangible and being created consciously. The more we see is this whole question of certain privileges to certain people. We were fighting the white community, saying in that time there were 10% very highly wealthy people. And we were saying at that time, we would boycott companies, we would do this to companies, we would stop the workers to go and work, and many things we were saying. And today we have almost the same situation, just a different color. Those are the things that really makes me very unhappy and very much disturbed, that my request for a Namibia that I was looking for when I'm older, like now, is not yet coming.
Who do you think these resources are going to? They are not shared equally. There's evidence on the ground that resources are not being shared equally. Is it going to particular demographics of the country, particular tribes, particular class, in your analysis?
In my analysis, I think we have developed a kind of a system. Sometimes we call it black economic empowerment. Sometimes we call it tenderpreneurs. Sometimes we call it development in a certain region. It's drought-stricken, and therefore, already I remember earlier there were tractors that were coming for development, and it went to a certain region, and it never even provided the life of change for that region. So we have this patchwork that is carried out by the people who are in charge of the resources that they're supposed to give us. I mean, I am shocked by the basic income grant response from our government. That's the little smallest thing that we can ever ask as citizens. We have done our trial piloting with the churches. We have gone out into Omitara, and we have practically put an exercise on the ground, and it has shown. For example, up until yesterday, Meme Frida bakes her bread and sells to the community from nothing. to that pilot of $100. So here I hear when we are asking, we are not the first country that can implement, and therefore we must wait for other countries to implement such a program, then we can do that. That's a talk from a very trusted leader in the economic sphere of the country. And you are like, what do I hear correctly? What is uttered here? So there is also a deliberate restriction to let flow of resources. I would not so much say a particular region is being privileged. What I would say is within the regions, there are particular spots that are privileged, and the rest of the regions are left towards devastation. There's not, without a link, how our people commit suicide. They are socially depressed, and that's why they do that. There is not openness where you say, just people are drunkards, they are lazy, a bunch of Namibians. You are not telling the truth. Yeah. It's depriving people from that resources and not distributing them equally. Yeah. That's why it happens, really.
Yeah. Yeah. As we head towards the conclusion of this conversation, Rosa, I want to pick your brain on the issue of, you spoke about women empowerment, but so now we see that there are some efforts that have been made. Some people say cosmetic efforts. We see, for example, that Parliament,
40-something.
Yeah, this zebra list being implemented by some parties. The ruling party, SWAPO, has Netumbana Ndaitwa as its candidate for 2024. Looks like she'll be up against men after that. What do you make of the prospects of a female president, whether it's Netumbana Ndaitwa or someone else? Do you think it's time that the country gets a woman president, or it doesn't matter?
You know what, this whole glamour that we receive with our women, and it's only some certain sectors of our community and our private sector and parliament that gives us the numbers. Number game, we all know that the voice is very important. We need to break through the voice of the women, and that voice is cut. And there are many reasons, many aspects. When you ask women that are stronger, can say one of the things is sexual harassment, the other is privileges and so on. Lack of systems within parliament also, like we are struggling. I left the parliament without a women's caucus. I'm sure when you go back and ask, they might not have one. So basically what I am looking at is, from the time that we were put, I'm really glad that many women have achieved certain positions and they articulate their issues, but we are not so many, and that is a concern. Whilst that is a concern, women have been experiencing. I used to always say, people were saying, you don't have political science. I said, where did the men get their political science? Most of the men also don't have any study of politics. They have honorary degrees that they are given because they are honored in that way. Where will we get to be honored? I wish I could be honored, and I wish other women could be honored so that they can work, because they have been leading in the food security, agriculture. They have been leading. Today the women are in the mining sector as small miners. They're sitting selling these stones, knowing them name by name and all that experience. So why not a woman leading us for a bit? We have been going through patriarchy for quite a long time. We have been calling for an eye-opener against violence, saying, can we call a state of emergency around this terrible situation that our women are going through? There is war in the country, although there is no war with other countries, but amongst us there are weapons opened, and these weapons are our male, and men amongst men, violence is also happening. So it is a chaotic situation, for example. And then articulating our issues as women, saying that now in the equity, not equality, equity must happen. So what do? You say, hold on, you have been privileged. Can I lift up this person for a while? And once this person is catered for, I can put you together. So why can't we move and open our souls, minds, and spirit to vote for a woman president so that we can change a little bit, bring in that difficult change that we are looking for?
Absolutely. We
can.
Absolutely.
And women should stand up, and we should go and stand and vote. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be necessarily a SWAPO woman president. It can be an independent candidate, women. It can be other political party women. But we can have our women. Yeah. They will lead us. I know. They will do better. They will do beautifully.
Yeah. No. Auntie, thank you very much for making time.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And thank you for your service, really. I think people tend to forget where we're coming from and your contributions as a generation from that time. So some of us still remember what you did. We've read up a few things, so we appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's good that we remember them.
Wonderful. Yeah, that is tonight's show with Rosa Namises. Thank you for watching.